Hi guys, we got a diagnostic today, and I'm I'm going to tell you why I don't like flowcharts. I'm going to tell you why flowcharts send you astray, and they're not where you need to be most of the time to diagnose some of these problems. This is a 2020 F-150, right? And we've got a driver's heated seat that doesn't work. I verified that the heated seat doesn't work on a small road test. Now, when you go up to the car, when you look in here, you can see that it's kind of dark. You can see that the switch right there has LEDs on it. All right, so when I push the switch, the LEDs come on. That tells me that there's power to the module. That tells me there's power to the switch. And just to let you know, I've never done this diag before. I've never diagnosed 2020 F-150 heated seats. But I go to the service manual, or I put the scanner on it, right? Put the scanner on it, and I get a code, B1034-15. So I go to the book, right? The flow chart in the book says, you can see that, but it says, check to see if there's a code present. We do have that code, right? So then it says, go to test L3. Okay, L2, no. L3, ignition off, disconnect FCIM. Now what's FCIM? That's the front control interface module. The front control module is the piece in the dash that has that button on it. So they want me to go in. The first thing they're gonna have me do, check the code, and they want me to go to the back of that module and unplug that connector and check for power in. I know there's power in there because I have a light at the switch. I didn't show you that, I did that during the test, but I want to show you the brass tacks. I'm not here to do the basics. I want to show you the details and how I do it. I'm not telling you how to do it, you do it your way. You want to follow this flow chart, you follow the flow chart. I'm doing it the way that I know is going to be faster. So already I feel like that's a wasted test. I don't want to do that. I'm not going to pull the radio out, pull the dash apart to access that connector and check for power in when I know there's power in based on that LED coming on. There's 3 LEDs for high, medium, low. They all work on high, medium, low. The description of this code 1034-15 is left front heated seat, short to ground or open, or short to power, excuse me, short to power or open. So I'm gonna say, okay, I know that the heated seat element is inside of the seat, right? So where can we access this? Get my kneeling pad for my old knees. Now, I've already got it and diagnosed. I know what this is. So I'm just going to show you how I went a bit about doing it. Okay. So we know that we can access underneath the seat. I mean, look at this. We have complete access to underneath the seat. This is the main connector, right? That's the main connector. Those are the 2 sides of the main connector there. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a schematic, and I'm not a specialist. I work on all makes and models, and so I usually use the non-OE schematics through Mitchell or All Demand, or Pro Demand, Mitchell, or All Data. I use both have value. So looking at that, we can see that power comes in. So they wanted you to check power right there. But I know I have power there because my lights come on. So I'm going to look here and I'm going to see what we've got to feed. This is the left front seat, right? So I'm looking at the yellow and blue, yellow and violet that come in. There's a connector there. There's a connector there. I've got wire colors, orange and gray and blue, yellow and violet, yellow and blue, pins 33, 31, and 30. All right, now we could go to the book and we could look those up, and we could look at pin, connector pinout charts, connector end views, but we know that we can access the connector right here, right? So here, I look at this connector. I don't like working off of schematics on the screen. I got to print my schematics because here I am. There's my schematic. There's my connector. I'm looking for pins 33, 31, and 30 yellow and blue, yellow and violet, gray and blue. So this main connector, now this, if you look, this connector goes to the body. So everything on this seat, every heated seat element, airbag, seat motors, everything is through this connector. So looking at this schematic, I believe that this is connector 311. So I'm going to check that. Yellow and blue in, yellow and blue out, yellow and violet in, violet out. So if I come over here, most of these connectors on these modern cars, guys, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a 13, 21, 34. These are going to tell you the pins across this connector. They'll usually show you the end. So on the other end, you'll see 23, 14, and 1. So you can, they're all sequential. So if that's 34 and that's 23, they're hard to see, they're small, right? It's actually 22. It's 22 on that corner. This one here in the center is 21, but we're looking for what? 33, 31, 30. So let's go to 34, right? This corner they're calling 34. So the next one down is 33, blue and yellow. That's exactly what our schematic says. Then 32 is blank, and 31 is yellow and violet. Those are our wires. Now, if we look at the schematic, we can see that yellow and violet, that's going to go to our sensor. What we want to do is we want to check the element. And if we're looking at the schematic, the element for the cushion and the backrest are in series. So if we have an open in either of those two elements, now, okay, the most common thing for a heated seat is to have an open in the element. Granted, there's some other things that can happen. You can go too hot, you could have melted terminals. So that's one other thing we want to look for, you see, is inside. I don't know if you can see quite in there, but we're looking for melted carnage there, or on that side, the female. And we're not seeing anything melted. We're not seeing corrosion. We're not seeing anything. So the likeliness is it's an element. So looking at the schematic again, we want to check first and see if we have a good ground to the element, right? Because that's not going to affect our LED that's going to be in the front interface control. They're telling me it's at the left A pillar. So I turn around and I find the ground up there and I connect onto that ground. And I test that ground, see the black and blue wire off this connector goes to that ground. Now remember, like I say, this connector here is on the body, so it's not grounded through the seat, it's grounded through this connector. So the blue and black wire on this connector see, they don't really show me on the schematic this connector, but it's gonna be this pin 16 right here, that black wire. So I checked from ground here to that ground up there, and I got good ground. So now we have the seat isolated. We're gonna do a resistance check across the seat heater element. And that's gonna tell us if the seat heater is open, okay? So the first thing I wanna do for that, I'd like to check that blue, black and blue to blue and orange, through that, right, through both elements to this yellow and blue. And when I check that, I have an open, right? So with that open circuit, I know that one of those elements is likely open. We could have a pin fit issue, right? At any connector, you could have the female connector be a little bit worn and not making contact, and that would give you an open circuit. So we're going to isolate both of these, and I'm going to show you how I get in and test both of these. Now, this is not an OEM schematic, so that connector C311 should actually be right here as well, but they're not showing it. See, they're calling that C3050, and that C3050 is going to be in the back of the seat. So I'm going to show you that in the back of the seat. Bring the schematic with me. And that's going to be this connector here, right? This connector here. I don't know if you guys can see that. So, pretty bad at holding the camera. It's my first video, and I don't even know if any of that footage is usable. But my point is, following flowcharts is not necessarily the way to effectively or efficiently diagnose most of these modern cars. You need to know what you're looking at. Going in, determining which pin is which, knowing that you're using an aftermarket schematic. There's going to be nuances to the schematic that's not exactly correct, but there's ways you can test based on what you're working on if the schematic's correct and what portions of the schematic are correct. You don't need to go and tear a bunch of stuff apart to access it. Use your common sense, look at the vehicle, look at what you've got going on, and look at what you have access to, right? Sure, common failures are a thing. I went on to a service community program. I'm not going to talk about names of programs, but I went on to a service community program and I had 0 hits for this code. A lot of guys just go on there, they see a hit for a code and they call out the most common thing, you know. But most of the cars, if you're dealing with something that's less than 3 years old, less than 5 years old, there's not going to be any service community hits. You're on your own. You got to look at the schematic, the service information, and utilize what you can to figure out what's going on with this car. The people who wrote the flowcharts, they're not flat rate technicians. They're not efficient automotive repair people. They're people who build cars and test brand new cars. And they don't, from what I can tell, they don't deal with fixing cars in an efficient manner, because the way that they have you go about it is not going to be the most efficient or effective way to test what you need to test and to find out the answers of what it's going to take to fix this car. I was able to isolate the 2 heaters from one another and find out that the cushion heater is the one that was failed. I'm going to recommend a cushion heater. There's a couple ways to go about this. I mean, you could do a used seat if you have access to one. Going in and doing the seat can be a bit tedious. I have a guy who's really good with the upholstery stuff, so I'll probably football the job over to him to get it taken care of. But in this case, the car's diagnosed. We know what it is. We know why the heated seats do not work, and we didn't have to tear apart the radio and do, I mean, I'm telling you, the flow chart and the service manual is not the mechanic. You are the mechanic if you're the one fixing the car, right? The service manual is not going to get you the answers. It's a guide. It can help you, and it can also throw you off. I've had the book throw me off too many times. I take the instructions from the book with a grain of salt. Know what you're looking at, know how to identify what it is that you're looking at, because oftentimes you're not working on something you're super familiar with. If you're a specialist, you know, oh, I'm a Ford guy, I know Ford does this and that, and you know right where to go. That's fine. I'm not a specialist. I work on all sorts of different cars, and like I say, this is the first one that I've been into on a heated seat. Actually, I think I did like a 2019 with a climate controlled seat, the air conditioned seat. Totally different deal. We had burnout pin there. I thought we might find something burnt out, which is why we have to diagnose it. A lot of people might just say, oh, the seat heaters don't work, it needs the element, and they'd be right in this particular case, but we want to go in and we want to do the testing. So I was able to isolate the 2 heaters from one another, come up with the fact that it's a seated heat cushion that's bad. And I mean, I almost want to go into the flow chart and see how far would I go down the rabbit hole following those instructions before I ended up here. I mean, we know we got to test power, we know we got to test ground, we know we got to access the connectors, but if we're dealing with a problem that we think is in the seat, why not go directly to the seat connector? Everything on that seat is at that main seat bulkhead connector, right? And then we look at our wire colors, we look at our pins, and most connectors have pin identification on the connector. Look at the corners, look at the sides. They don't have a number at every pin, but they'll have one on the corner, one at the end of each row, and you can determine which pin is which wire color works. And sometimes you get a schematic and none of the wire colors work, right? But you can still test the pin location and see if the pin locations are correct to get you where you need to go to diagnose this stuff. Video is pretty rough. Sorry I didn't show the the final testing and things like that, but my main thing was not to show how to diagnose heated seats on a Ford, so much as to say that flowcharts are to be taken with a grain of salt, and you end up down a rabbit hole. I mean, I've been doing this for about 25 years, and I've been down the rabbit hole without a fix through those flowcharts. Years ago is when I learned that you need to take that with a grain of salt. Look at the tests and understand what they're having you test and why. If you don't understand why they're having you do that test, you might be a little over your head on it. Like, I know exactly what they're trying to determine. Well, if I have power to the module, that's the first stage coming down from the fuse going to the module. Is there power there? You know, I get that, but I'm not disassembling a radio that I don't have to when I can determine whether there's power, ground, or continuity at my seat connector without disassembling anything. It took me about 5 minutes to reassemble the car. I could pull it out. If it's a customer car, I could deliver that car and say, hey, this is what's wrong with the car. Now, if they want us to fix it, obviously pulling a seat out and getting that part here is going to take more time. But efficient and effective diagnostics oftentimes are not where you're going to end up by following the flow chart. Take that information with a grain of salt. Be the mechanic. Don't try to make the book be the mechanic, right? Well, the flow chart said this. I tested this and says that this is wrong. You replaced that part and that didn't fix it. Is that the book's fault? Or is that someone who didn't understand what they were testing and made the call because the book said the book was wrong? It happens a lot, a lot. Understand what they're saying and make your decision of how you're going to go through and test it. Anyways, pretty rough video, you know, but maybe there's some useful information for you, maybe not. I'd prefer to focus on the details, but I'm not the best cameraman, and when I'm under the car, I don't know if you could even see what I'm pointing the camera at. And anyways, have a good day. Thanks for watching. This is a pain in the ass. I already proved. I don't want to do the